Okay, so here's the deal. I'm not happy with this at all. Just the imperfections. I mean, look at that casting. And I don't like the wheel stance. I don't like a lot of things about it. So I think I'm going to start this over. We're not going to make this into a red line look-alike or whatever it's supposed to be. So I think we're going to, I'd love to just chuck this, but I'm not going to. So I think we're going to try to sand out all these imperfections. Of course, that means stripping this again. Just the more I thought about it, the less I liked it. So we're just going to do a slight custom. We're going to lower it, put some bigger wheels on it, maybe paint some highlights, just a few here and there. Possibly do something with the base, because we are going to lower it, so we will have to modify the base or make a new base. But first we're going to try to modify the base. We're going to sand the bottom completely flat. Not a whole lot of material there to deal with, but gosh. But we'll give it a shot. We will also be narrowing the wheel openings. So yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is just flatten out this chassis. I want to get it as flat as possible. I don't really care what it looks like on the bottom, but in order to get as flat as I need it, it may be too thin. Then we'll just make something. But for now, just some sandpaper on a piece of MDF. So basically I want to get this bottom of the base just as flat with that. So again, it's a lot of material, but we're making fairly quick work out of it. I could use a Dremel with a aggressive wheel, but this is ensuring it's flat. So I guess it's really not that big of a deal, but it's a lot of metal shavings. That was a lot of work. Wow. So I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. Again, I don't care what it looks like. This is the bottom of it. I just needed it flat, and we are pretty flat. I don't want to go any thinner anywhere else. There's no ledge there, so that's as flat as I can get it without taking off that. Reason why is the back. It's real thin. It bends really easy. That's all that's holding it on there. And I knew that was going to be a problem in the beginning. I kind of mentioned that. So I'm going to put the JB weld in there. That'll strengthen it up. But I also need to narrow. So I planned on narrowing this section here to put bigger tires in. I can tuck them. So I need to do that. And I'll probably put the JB weld in first before I do that. I probably should have done this step first before I went sanding, now that I think about it. But live and learn. So yeah, we've got to do that. First I'm going to put the JB weld in there. Let's see how this looks though. I haven't. So now you can see on the van, when the screws are in there, you're not going to see any kind of base at all. Of course you'll have the bumpers, and that's why I wanted to kind of reuse this, because we do have some bumpers on there. And I'm not talented enough to make bumpers. I mean, there's guys on here that are. I'm not the one. Right, just doing some sanding here. As you can see, I did prime the body. The 3D printer is going in the background. And right now I'm just taking a real fine sandpaper here, sanding pad, and just getting rid of some of the little imperfections. This primer will actually hide all those imperfections, or at least I hope, that were in the paint. But what I'm working on now is the primer decided to, it's a spray can, it decided to not cooperate at first, and got a couple little spots here and there. I think I've got them all. I may shoot it again. Normally I would not, but I do have a little bit of bare metal showing, and the only reason why I'm going to is because of the paint I'm going to use. It might, you might see that. So continue working this, and I'm also going to start, Well, I've actually already started. Doing a little grinding here on the insides of the wheel wells. And I suppose you will see why eventually. Just the inside, just going to make them a little bit wider. And basically I'm just thinning out the wheel well. You can see how thick it is there, and a little grinding. It's quite a bit thinner where the wheels are going to have to go in. So it probably gives you an idea of what we're doing. I think that should do it. Again, we're going to prime this again, so. And it's not like it's going to rust. It'd be funny if it did. Okay, I think I've found the perfect wheel tire combo for this van. Hate to really put this much effort in this thing, but we've already started. This is, I forget what this is from, some kind of T-bucket. I've already ripped the front wheels off. Now we're going to take the back off. The reason why I like these is, first of all, I don't have to paint them. It's going to match for the color I'm going for. Either pink or purple, more than likely. Either one's going to be fine. And they are thinner, which I like. Goes along with this van. Something too fat would be just, there wouldn't be enough chassis left. And you can see we've already grinded off this. And yeah, I think they're going to look good. So I'm going to cut these ones off, the rears. It's one long axle. Okay, you saw me print this one. I don't know if this is a prototype. Wouldn't really call it that. But I did want to modify it some. We're going to see how it fits. I may have to make yet another one. This is kind of a trial and error. I did a lot of measuring, but I'm just using Tinkercad, so I'm not the best at it. Oh boy, I think that's, nope. Dang it. The front didn't line up. I guess it's a prototype as well. Not quite long enough. This first one, I actually drilled the holes. This one, I pre-made them in the casting, or in the print. But you can see, in the back here, the original base. There's this, which we'll just show you. So the original base, even with the interior in, there's a gap back here that just, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be the motor, I don't know. I don't like it, so I wanted to fill it in. So here is the first attempt. Those holes are there. So what I had done was filled in that space, and then I created some exhaust. So I don't care that that's black. I really don't care. I might even paint it. And that'll screw down. I gotta modify this rear section. I'm going to go probably with the no bumper look. So I didn't really care about that rear section. It's just on there for now. But anyway, so I've got some exhaust that I actually printed off as well that are in the casting. It's gonna look pretty cool. But the front doesn't line up. Oh, crap. Another thing I also had done, I pre-printed the holes for the axles. This has got a 99% infill, so it's really, really solid. We want to make sure the stance is correct. I think it's about right. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. Yeah, it's going to be perfect. Now to check the front. Front looks totally off. Yeah. Right stance, I'm going to have to move that front wheel up. Alright, you can hear the printer going again in the background. So now what I'm going to do while I'm waiting is There's this little nub. I'm going to grind that flat because I'm going to need as much room as I could possibly get. There we go. By the way, if I sound funny, I got sick over Christmas. It's great. Millie.
Can you see me?
Oh, I can now, yes.
What are you doing?
Still sanding this. What are you doing? I can't see you, Millie. Silly girl. So as you can see, we're sanding. We're also doing FaceTime. I have, I've primed this thing like 4 times, and every time I think I've got all these huge bumps out, and I prime it, and yeah, I don't. So now we've got them all out, I believe, at least the larger ones. I think we've got this clean enough. We'll shoot it with some air, make sure we don't have any little fuzzies on there, and then we will, we'll go to town. Hopefully get this thing done finally. Okay, I've got a boatload of JB Weld on this thing, and it's still loosey-goosey, which is fine because it's not really going to get a lot of pressure, but I'm kind of over it at this point, so we're going to do something a little bit different. And I still have to narrow these sides more. I've done it a bit in the back, and just roughly to get those wheels tucked in, but yeah, this is a pile of garbage. All right, even more tragedy here. I was going to use these wheels. They are perfect, pretty much perfect for this project, but a couple of things. One of the caps blew out of the center, which I could probably fix, but more importantly, I lost the other set. I don't know what I did with them. Actually, I still have one, but I lost the other set with the axle and everything. No idea where it went. Looked and looked and looked, and yeah, this thing keeps on fighting me, so it does not want to get finished, I don't believe. But hopefully we will get it finished. We have the interior here. I'm going to leave it this color because I think it's going to complement the finish fairly nicely, but you can see I've done some whittling here. This is so the rear tires will not rub, and in the front we've narrowed the front seat so the front tires will not rub. You can see here I've got a pile of printed chassis. This is one that was just not printing correctly. Everything else was fine with it. The one I was drilling out on camera would have been this one, I believe. So I went back and did even more. So this is like the second rendition. Actually, no, that's not right. This would have been the second rendition right here. This is the one I drilled out. And it was really hard to get these lined up, so I did some measurements, and I eventually ended up printing on, well, you'll see another few with the holes already in there, so I did not have to guesswork that. I just measured where I needed to be, and I've got the holes kind of pre-drilled or pre-made with the print. So here's where I started. I drilled the holes, realized the front were a little off. I had to trim off some of the front of that. Pretty sloppy at that point because of the interior, and then we went with this one, which I don't remember what we did with this one. Anyway, that was like the third one. And then we have the fourth one, pre-drilled holes, and we've got the little exhaust coming out the back. I added that, but I didn't like the rear. So then we've got this one, which again, we've got the little tail pipes we added, and I started grinding on the front and didn't really like that. It was fine, but then I thought, well, okay. And I also had trimmed this one out, but I had used a lighter to kind of get rid of the little fuzzies, and I forgot I didn't print with 90% or 99% infill. I did 20 on this one, and it was just too thin. And this was, I believe, the next one. Yeah, it definitely was, because then I've got the front built up. I didn't have to grind that. That's actually how I printed it, but the back had come loose from the base or from the bed of the printer, and then it messed up the rear. And then now we've got the final one, and I painted it to match. And these are our wheels we're going to use. They're essentially the same wheel tire combo as the pink ones, except they are chrome. And I think I'm going to leave them chrome. I think it looks really good. And I got to paint the rear tailpipes. But there it is. I didn't paint the top, of course, because I didn't really need to. But this will be the base. It actually looks fairly good. You can see it's a print for sure, but I don't really care how well it really looks on the bottom. This is mostly for anything that you may see underneath of it. Which brings us to the actual casting. It's finally painted, but I'm not done yet. I painted it a creamy pink. I actually like the way it turned out, and I think it'll look really good with those wheels. But I'm going to, well, we're going to paint some details, but I think first I'm going to paint the top like a pearl white. Probably going to do this off camera, since I will probably do it about 50 times, because I will mess it up inevitably. With this casting, everything has become a complete and utter nightmare. All right, and it's taped off and we're ready to go. I did get one little chip right there. Hopefully the white will cover that up. I've never had Spectraflame paint chip off. It's been dry for about a day. It's usually rock solid. Also got a little scratch right here. It's from my fingernails, just putting on this tape. Hopefully the tape doesn't pull the paint off. Only thing I can think of is because this is actually a chromed body. When I sanded it, I should have showed it before I painted it, but you could see the copper, so it was dipped. It was chromed properly, I guess. It was copper dipped, and then it was probably nickeled and then chromed. But yeah, so we're just batting 1,000 here. You know what? I started to paint it, but I'm going to leave well enough alone for this one. I'm just going to paint some details because I have a feeling this is going to turn into a catastrophe, and I really, really, really want to be done with this casting so I can start on something else. So yeah, it was a good idea. Started to paint it and realized that it's probably not going to stick to the Spectraflame creamy pink that well. This is Spectraflame paint, by the way. It's the only thing I had in pink. So I would have rather have used something else, but yeah, that's what we had. And we're going to paint some details and finish it and then forget about it. Actually, I'm probably going to give it to my granddaughter. This is the plan in the beginning. So it's going to get the snot beat out of it. But if you'll notice, I'm starting to spend more time on these. Used to be, you know, the channel's not, it was never for look at me, what I can do. Because I don't think that I'm very good at it. It was more or less, the channel's always been here for showing you what you can do. If that makes any sense. You know, a lot of my videos are tutorials. They're not really, hey, look how good I am. Because for the most part, I'm not. I started this all for my grandson, and that's why a lot of those earlier cars just looked like total crud, because I knew he was going to destroy them. And my granddaughter is probably going to destroy them even worse. But I kind of wanted to make them look better, because I have gotten some flack for that. And I've always said from the beginning, this is a tutorial channel. It's not a show-off channel. Because there are people that are much, 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 much more talented. The thing we're going to do is paint these little tailpipes that I have sticking out here. We're going to just chrome them with the Matolo pen. Okay, we are back. Did not paint the top white, but I did reshoot it. And kind of a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say. When I put the pearl in the gun, I cleaned it out, but I didn't clean it out real well. So when I shot the pink, now it's got a metallic pink in it. It's kind of neat, a metallic effect, because I kind of reshot the whole casting just real quick on the sides for the color to match. I didn't want the top to be too dark compared to the sides. So
yeah, there's that. Okay, we're going to use this orange again for the taillights. Rear lights and the headlights. I think I'm going to use this sail color. That's what it says it is, sail color. Got to mix it up though. So I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I had went to an estate auction a few years ago, probably 4 years ago, and I bid online these hobby colors, and I've got, I don't know, 2,000 of them. I've got a whole display, like every color under the sun, and I got it for, oh gosh, $140 was the winning bid, something like that. So the reason why I got them is not for Hot Wheels, but originally, well, not originally, but someday when I retire, I want to, I've got some models, which, just plastic models, that I want to put together one day. And that's another reason why I kind of started doing some of the Hot Wheels, was practice for that. But that'll be part of the retirement plan, so, which is 20 years away, 20 long years. I'm good with it. Okay, I'm not going to do much more on this. I've kind of given up. We will finish it, but I did panel line on the front grille here. The lights look like crap, but that's fine. But I managed to drop it and got a chip right there. I don't know if it's a chip or some paint, but it's not coming off. I'm not fixing that. So yeah, I've had it with this one. Okay, we're going to call this a New Year's miracle because it is in fact January 2nd, 2023. But what I thought was a chip was actually just some paint. So it scraped right off. So all is not ruined. We did shoot a coat of clear just to lock in some of those details. I'm not that happy with those headlights. See, this one's a little off, but that's fine. Looks pretty good overall. It's definitely better than what we started with. So we're gonna let this dry. It's got some sparkle in there. Actually, quite a bit of sparkle. I don't know if it's showing up. Some of it looks like little bubbles, but that's actually, I don't know what it's showing up on camera. It's actually just the metallic. It's pretty neat. Looks pretty good in person. I don't think it's, looking through the viewfinder here, it doesn't show the metallic. And I did clear over the Matolo, the chrome on the little handles. The back, we got the tails and the backups. Of course, over here, the handle. In the front, we did a black wash or panel line on the grille, and then we painted the headlights and the turn signals. So not a ton of detail. I just want to get this one done. So we will be back. All right, we are done. Here's the base. I think it turned out real nice. It looks like I did use a green screw though, a green tinted screw. I'll have to change that. And the front screw I could actually totally eliminate because you can see it because the base is so low, but this is such a tight fit I did not even need it. I don't know why I put it in. And I did have to cut it because it was a little bit too long. Just use some side cuts like these to cut the screw. Other things off camera that we did, we obviously painted the door handles, and as mentioned earlier, we whittled on the interior a bit. You can see the rear wheel sticking through as well as the front. It's turned out pretty nice overall. It does roll. Not going to win any race competitions, that's for sure. It's not going to win any races. But with all of the heartaches we had with this one, I think it turned out okay. Just just okay, not perfect. The reason why I say that is I originally wanted to use those pink wheels that we lost and destroyed one, but I don't think they would have matched real well anyway. This is a creamy pink. This is a red line color, or a Spectra Flame, but it's I knew it would turn out the creamy pink that I wanted by just painting it regular, and it did. I'm pretty happy about that. Also, the other thing that's disappointing is the top. I wanted to paint that the pearl white. And again, that kind of worked out in the end as well because I didn't clean the gun well enough. And now the pink, the creamy pink, has this metal flake effect, which I don't think is showing up on camera at all. At least it's not in the viewfinder. In person, it really is. It looks really, really good as far as the paint in person. Actually, the whole casting looks pretty nice in person. We did reshoot the whole thing, and the reason why is because the top, I had intentionally painted the top light. It was not as dark as the rest. I just kind of left that area light because I was going to do that pearl white, and since I didn't, I had to reshoot the entire thing. So I put a couple extra coats on the top and then painted the rest of the body again just to make it all uniform. And then we shot it with some clear coat. And actually the clear coat I used this time did not turn the chrome a funky color. So I know I'd mentioned that in one of the other videos, and somebody said go watch Adam Savage's video, which I haven't had a chance to do, but I just took a chance on it this time because I was kind of over this one. I was saying that, you know, usually these are fun, they're kind of interesting, but yeah, this one was not fun. I would have given up on it a long time ago, but I'd already made a part 1, so never having a part 2 would have been kind of funky, so I had to finish it. I felt obligated. I could have, I guess, taken down the original video, but I was really close to smashing this thing with the camera. This was going to end up being one of those Christine cars where you just got a mess at the end. The other thing I'm not happy about is those front headlights, probably. They don't look perfect. In person they're not bad, but when I put my magnifying glasses on, you can kind of see they don't look that great, and they may not look that great through this viewfinder either, I don't know, or through the camera rather, because it is a lot closer than it would be in real life. I really like the stance. I'm glad the pink wheels did not work out. Those chrome wheels look a lot better because that pink was totally off. I like the exhaust pipes, a little different, and I think it looks a lot better than it would have as a red line, because I've done one of these before, and as you saw in the first video, it looked like it was horrible. I don't even want to say what it looked like. And if you haven't checked out that first video, be sure to do so. There'll be a link or something somewhere here or at the end of the video showing you that first video if you did not get a chance to see that one. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Diecast Customs. He had, in that first video, you may recall that I had blown out one of the posts with the screw. So he had gotten a hold of me, sent a message, or actually posted a comment that these 1x72 screws are the way to go, and I did order some of those. Now it's too late for this particular one, but in a future red line or pretty much any Hot Wheels custom or restoration, I'll be using those. I got the drill bits, the tap, and of course the screws, and I will have Amazon links to those below the video in the description as well, and I'll also have a link in the description to Diecast Customs channels. He does a lot of customs. I think he's done some restorations as well, but mostly customs, and he's got some nice little tips and tricks that you can follow as well. I don't make these videos to show off what I can do. It's more of a learning experience, kind of go on camera as evidence with this thing. I mean, we tried something and we didn't like the way it worked, so we started over. And that's more of what this channel is about. I know I've had some comments here and there. In the past, I really haven't focused a lot on how they actually look in the end. I'm just kind of showing you little tips and tricks. Make it your own, or make it even better, because trust me, there's so many channels out here that are way, way, way better. Can't say it well enough, or can't say it enough, that are way better than what I do. I mean, they just, these guys are phenomenal. I mean, you have guys that are building cars from scratch, from plastic. I mean, it's insane. I don't watch a lot of them because because it can be depressing. I mean, these guys are just phenomenal. You're like, oh, well, first of all, I don't know if I can do that. Second of all, if I had the time to do it, I don't know if I want to do it. And third, I don't know if I can even see that well to do some of these things. It's insane. Maybe I'll post some of those channels below. I mean, these guys they're phenomenal. It's amazing, some of the work that guys, you know, these creators are doing with these tiny little cars. I mean, it's pretty neat, must say. I don't watch a lot of them. I mostly watch real car stuff and motorcycles, but every now and again they pop up and I'm like, wow, that's sick. And I think that's going to be enough of me talking. I feel like I've talked everybody's ear off in this video. I don't know why, because I still have this cold, flu, whatever going on. It's been like over 2 weeks and I haven't felt like talking much. Maybe that's the reason. But at any rate, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post those below. If you see any of the tools that I've used in this video that you'd like to purchase for yourself, I'll have Amazon affiliate links. They're located below the video in the description. As always, thanks for watching.